Everybody, my name is Corrie Thorne. I am a spiritual and emotional consultant. I work with people in their personal and in their business lives to be able to truly spiritually and emotionally mature. A big part of my work that I speak of is growing up in all areas of our lives and mostly learning to more than exist. This is the podcast called She Is. Before this, I was recording as Keeping It Real, More Than Existing, but I have long extended beyond my first book of More Than Existing, which we will talk about lots in here. But the one thing I've come to understand is that people say, "Oh, I feel so sorry for you that you're going through this." And I'm like, "Nope, this was 20 years, 30, 40 years ago that this happened. This is what happens when we allow ourselves to be triggered and to be emotionally holding on to the past. And this is the journey beyond there. To be now stepping into my crone energy, to be becoming part of the larger council of the wise ones. I can tell you that this journey and what I can offer is about accountability. It is about ownership. It's about learning to fill up on truth of who we are and not upon our own bull that we tell ourselves. And I want to swear so bad, but this is YouTube and I want to be able to bring this podcast even bigger. So a big part of She Is came with acceptance for me. But let me back it up a little bit. Let me bring it back. So when I first started this journey, many years ago, I was probably about 32, 33 years old, 32 for sure. And I started to notice some things in my health that were really going downhill. I started with a tremor that started in my thumb, and I don't put too much focus on this part of my life as much anymore, but it is real. So she is the creation of her own doing. She is the creation of everything that she does to heal, and she is the creation of making a choice to choose to more than exist beyond the pain stories, to evolve beyond it. So when this started for me at 32, I was fit and very healthy and doing a lot of things for me physically. Physically, let's bring that back, right? Let's bring this back. So physically, I was very fit, very healthy. I was working out, and I could tell myself that I was the fittest person in so many ways. But there is the mind, the heart, the inner body. There's so many other things at play that at the time I really wasn't giving so much attention to. Um, and that just kept expand. I just kept getting injured and hurting myself, and then my shoulder kept being pulled. And then I started to go to the doctor, and first it was, oh, you have carpal tunnel, then you have this, you have that. And God bless my doctors. I've had some amazing doctors, but I've come to realize that we cannot diagnose what we cannot see, or we can attempt to, and you can accept it and you can live by it, or you can continue to live as if there is nothing wrong. And that was my situation. After 4 or 5 years, probably no, I'd say longer, maybe about closer to 7 or 8 years of really trying to trying to show doctors what was wrong. I'm like, look at me. You have to see it. And we don't see nothing wrong. Your blood work is perfect. But those tremors, they said, did you ever think that this is all stress? I'm like, no. And they said, well, it's real now. But this was stress. It is real now. But this came from stress. This came from trauma. This came from somewhere else. And that's all of life. And so I was told that go home and live as if I have nothing wrong, even though my health does decline, even though I have a tremor, even though I have these things, you're still standing. Because in the beginning, it was go home, quit, give up, just pretend like nothing's wrong. And I couldn't accept that. Or just give up on everything now and just know that if you don't take care of you, you're going to be in a wheelchair. I couldn't accept that as my truth. That was not acceptable. Um, what I really learned was that I had to accept that. I had to accept that in the future, that could be a possibility. By me rejecting it, by me arguing, by me being in my own way, I became a big problem. So, accountability and ownership is acceptance because acceptance is an action. It's an action step towards the possibility to start to reject the possibility that that's going to come true. And that began a whole new journey. I wrote down many years ago a statement: I am done. I'm finding joy and happiness no matter the cost. In that meantime, I started to take the journey to, okay, if that's my possible future, well, what else is possible for me right now? I did not quit my job. I was a hairstylist. I was an esthetician. I owned a salon and spa. There was so many things that I was succeeding at, but I was really failing at me. I was a failure to my own joy and happiness. I was a failure to not treating myself as if I was the dumping ground. And I lovingly and kindly and carefully and compassionately gave to everyone else except for myself. And that's a truth. And so I also probably spent more time saying that this was all because of what somebody else did to me, not what I was allowing to happen to myself. At 50, I've told a different story. I now have a different story. And so during this process, and as you can see right here, this is the book. This is the first book that was to come out. This is More Than Existing. And I always say this was the girl who started to walk not away from her life, but started to walk towards her life. And I wasn't going to abandon me because I had done that enough years. On the back of the book, I keep this little sticky and it says faith. It actually belonged on the next project, which was my oracle cards. And you, if you're watching this or if you're listening in audio, you're probably not getting a visual. There's a book with a cover of with the cover with me walking out of the dark of a pile of cedar trees into the light. And this was these photographs were taken by dear friend Suzanne Segemeister in BC in Isuk, BC on the island. And so the back says faith, and that girl you see in the little picture down here in the white, she's the me of today. She's the woman who just finished writing the book, uh, Resting in the Way, or she is. We don't know the exact title. It's that's the book. It just finished being completed. And many projects later, what I realized was that this whole journey that I really started was really all about me. And it was about me really stepping into the healing. And I started out as a taking Reiki training. I started getting Reiki sessions in past life. And before you knew it, I found one of the biggest original problems. So the original source of all of this really came back to the parts of me that I was trying to run from. And that was the fact of the gifted me. Because this little weirdo, this little oddball, this little freak, this little everything that I was, she started to see something. She started to see her. This podcast, everything about this is really about me bringing up using my stories. I have a lot of training, I have a lot of certificates. I am a professional life coach, I am a psychic medium, I am a channel, and I channel Jesus, Mother Mary. I even channel through the guardians. And I know that that may sound crazy to some people. And I have another YouTube channel just in case that you would like to explore that one. And that one is Corrie Thorne. This one is She Is. Because in here, you'll see many of women. You'll see many of faces if you're on the video. If you're in the audio, you're going to hear a lot of voices. She is the voice of many a woman who has made a choice to start creating her own life, to start to walk home to her, to start to find her way back. When I wrote down, I am done, I'm finding joy and happiness no matter the cost. The first thing that I had to do was get clear with myself that the one person that was betraying me, the one person that kept lying to me, the one person who kept emotionally abusing my soul was me. And when I got clear with that, I started to accept that this was the truth. This is where I was, but I was not quitting. I was not giving up. And I pushed a little bit too hard in some areas because I wouldn't give up because my strong sense of conditioning held me captive. So the biggest illness that we have is called conditioning. And we have been conditioned to be, you know, to be those workhorses. We've been conditioned to believe we're weak. We've been conditioned to believe we're victims. And we've been conditioned to many things. And we've been conditioned to believe exactly what we're told and to question nothing. How dare we question? Well, that's part of my journey is that I even question myself. And the biggest statement I use is I could be wrong because there's many times I could be wrong. So when I started recording my first podcast, I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. I'm like, I am being me. This is me. But it was me in that moment. And I found myself being angry and I found myself like letting out some of my anger. I found myself like, screw this. I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about that. But that really wasn't where I wanted to go. What I discovered was on this big, long healing journey of being the unhealed healer that I started to notice a common thread amongst many people who are trying to push the agenda of do this, you do this, but I'm not going to do the work. I'm going to tell you how to do it, but I haven't done the work. Well, I'm here to tell you I've done the work. I do the work every day. I wake up every day and do the work, and I face myself every day. And I hold myself accountable every day. And every day I say, I could possibly be wrong. I'm not deleting and canceling and being offended by my friends, by people who are going through their own journeys. I accept that we are all on a different journey because at this age, I have experienced life and I'm only just getting started. I missed a whole lot of the first 50 years. Want to know why I was sick? Because I made myself sick. And that's the truth. Because I put everything else ahead of me, including allowing myself to grieve, including allowing myself to heal, including allowing myself to accept, including allowing myself to have a life. So I missed out on a lot of my personal life. And I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want that to be your journey. So I am hoping that you're going to want to follow these podcasts. I'm hoping that you're going to want to be here with me. I'm hoping that this page, this YouTube page fills up, that it lights up the world. I have written many a books which needs money to be published. There is no doubt. And I did have to give up something. I had to give up my career. I had to give up my hairdressing career. I had to give up my aesthetics. And I didn't leave on such a good note because most times, you never know when somebody can rain on your parade and that can really take a toll on you. One thing I do have is a soft heart. And it's a very soft heart. And the last thing in the world I want to do is hurt people. And if I hurt somebody, I hurt 10 times worse. And I put a dagger in my own heart, thinking, how did I do that? What did I do? Why did I do it? Well, it's possible. It's all possible that we do it. But it's like, it wasn't so easy for me to let go. So in the meantime, I found myself leaving an industry without celebration, without a retirement party, without anything that my legs just couldn't stand anymore. But I already had this career. I just wasn't having enough faith in myself to run this career and have this alone. And so now I do just this. This is my life. And I was angry at the business I left behind. I was angry that the fact that I can hold so many secrets in my heart and hold those so dear that three, four of my words could be turned around. And you don't realize when your words come out of the mouth of somebody who is not in a good place, or somebody who's angry, or somebody has a motive to make you look bad or make you look less than, then that's going to come out through their mouth the way that they want it to come out, depending on how they want to affect somebody else. So being angry at somebody and wanting somebody else to pay the price and using somebody else to walk in front of you to do it, to throw somebody else to the wolves, will never serve you well. Never. And so leaving my industry that way hurt my heart. But it took me this long. It took me 3 years to finally come back home. I'm not cutting hair. I'm not coloring hair. I'm not a colorist. But I can tell you, I learned a whole lot about the God code and the God code within me, and that my code of ethics and my integrity that allowed me to be book solid, to be booked up, to have a clientele that was huge, to successfully know how to place clients with stylists, to be able to know from the inside out a color, a skin care, a hair color, all of those things. I knew what I was doing because I always put attention to the areas where nobody else was looking. Anybody could apply the color, but who could repair the damage? And that's where they always called me in. I was the cleaner, the repairer. I was the person they called in. I was the consultant. And it took me years now to step up to say, I am the consultant. I am the consultant in life. I am the consultant for businesses. I am the consultant for a lot of people that are making some major life changes. I created the More Than Existing program. And that is a self actualization, empowerment, transformational program that allows you to be able to more than just exist, to move beyond your fears and insecurities, to be able to find your way home to you, to discover joy and happiness. And every single word that we use is usually much more than the dictionary, and that not one person is going to have the same definition or is going to have the same experience with your words. During this journey, I have learned so much, but I can tell you this: everything that I teach, anything that I podcast, anything that I speak of, I do the work. And that's what counts, because I'm not just going to tell you what you should do. And I have nothing to hide. I let it all out there. You hear it all. Sadly, me, my parents say sometimes, they're cringing because what is she going to talk about next? But it is truth. And it doesn't mean it's truth for today. It means it's what I believe to be true. And I created it into my reality. And I kept it alive so freaking long that it affected my life. And today I am free. Today I am liberated in who I am, that I don't have to choose either side. I don't have to become this or that. I know my truth. I walk the middle. I live in the center of the crossroads, and I know the type of person that I use to inspire me. And I'm not a church goer, but I'm not afraid to step inside of a church. I am not judgmental of either or, even though I have been judged hard. I am a woman who now knows that she is the creation, and I am inspired by the man on the cross, not the ones who put him there, not the ones throwing rocks, by the man on the cross and the woman on his feet, because those are the people who have helped from spirit world, from spirit world. Those are the energies that have truly helped me save me. And the key thing that they always say, "Do not look, you're not going that way." So the moment we stop looking back and we start going forward, we stop being afraid of endings and just know that what if your next happy, your next ending is a happy ending? They're not all bad. There's a lot of greatness that comes after. And what if you change it to not an ending, but a walking towards? This is the beginning of walking towards your life, walking towards you. And I want you to come with me. I want you to take this journey, and only if you choose. And I would be honored to have you walk beside me. I am a leader who is following. I'm a follower who's a leader. And there's so many ways when you look at it in the way that no matter what, there's always somebody who has walked the path before you. You are not the first one. You will not be the last. I'm not the first. I will not be the last. But nobody walks in your shoes but you. I am the girl who wears the red boots. I am the girl who walks across that stage. But more than that, I am the woman behind the scenes. I am the mom. I am the grandma. And above all, I am a woman. And now I'm about to live. And so come along. This shall be interesting. And welcome to She Is, the podcast all about keeping it real, being honest, and about truly becoming the creation you truly want to be. Much love and welcome to my YouTube page. Bye bye.